Hello, and welcome to Career and College Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Mildred Charles, and I want to sincerely thank you for tuning in to our show. The purpose of our show is to discuss important information about today's college and career concerns, and our goal is to inform, inspire, and empower you, our viewing audience, with information that can help you achieve college and career success. Well, today I am so incredibly excited because I have the story and the guests for you. Our topic actually today is what to do when your children attend college at the same time. And I just want to welcome our guests, Aretha Matthews and Robert Matthews, who happen to be parents of, wait for it, quadruplets. All right, so today I just wanted to share their story with you. And again, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So most people, 90% of multiples are twins.
Right.
Only 10% in the country are, triplets or quadruplets.
Mm-hmm.
You happen to be, again, parents of quadruplets.
Yes.
Tell us, how did you feel when you learned that you were going to have this experience?
I was sort of shocked, and nurse said 4 heartbeats. I said, where? And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, I said to myself, grand slam. and I said, Rita, we're going to have to work this together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have to get a lot of family support, and we're going to make it work. And we made it work. And Holy Cross Hospital, those doctors and nurses, they did an excellent job.
Wow.
Make sure my wife was taken care of. She had a little complication, and those doctors and nurses did an excellent job, and all the 4 kids came out just fine.
That's a blessing.
I think when we first found out, I was just in shock. I was like, where? I was like him. I was like, where? Because they were doing the sonogram.
Yeah.
And they could see 4 really strong heartbeats.
Wow.
So it just looked like little dots on the screen at first. So then I was just in total shock. So it was almost unbelievable, of course. And then I think after a while, it just started to sink in. And so it was just going through my head, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? But as he said, family support, my mom and my dad and his parents, they're all like, everybody else was elated. Mm-hmm. But we were like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely. So that's wonderful. That's truly a blessing.
Yes. So, we were at Holy Cross Hospital. And like he said, they did a really good job. After that, it was just a countdown from that point.
Okay. That's great.
And about, 4 months of bed rest.
Oh, 4 months of bed rest. Okay.
4 months of bed rest. So.
At what point did you do the 4 months?
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the 4th of July. We were at a picnic or something. And I looked like I was about 9 months, even though I think I was 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Along. So I started having contractions at the picnic. So then we went to the hospital, and my doctor said, this is it. We're putting you in here. You'll take up residence here at Holy Cross until the babies are born. So outside that, I felt fine.
And at what point of your pregnancy was that? How many months were you?
I carried them for, 34 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So they were about 6 weeks early.
Okay.
But they all came out, and they were all healthy.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we really didn't.
You could hold all the kids in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, because they were really little.
Each one in the palm of your hand.
They were really little.
Yeah. You can tell how lucky they are.
Right.
All right, so then you learned that you're going to have, 4 children at the same time. What was going in your mind when it comes to, preparing them, like K through 12, going to college, like?
And money. I mean, how was we even going to be able to do that? Send them all to school, but you know, initially you're not thinking about college.
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Initially you're thinking about regular stuff, diapers and milk and,
Yes.
you know, just sleep. When am I going to sleep? But, you know, that's the main thing that's going in your head initially is how you're just going to go through the motions of taking care of them. And then you have so much coming at you, you know, from the doctors and will I be able to work? So, you know, it's a whole lot to take in.
And did you have support system with your family
Yes.
that was able to help you?
My mother-in-law, she did a very wonderful job taking care of the quads.
My
And
mom.
every morning I would have to get the kids ready, put them in the van while my wife just get ready to go to work. And she sent them to my mother-in-law, and I give most of the credit to my mother-in-law
Oh, wow.
for doing an excellent job taking care of the quads.
Yeah,
And
right. We call them the quads
we had
from
to go
time to time.
work. We
Okay.
both had to work. I work at night, so she can work in the day. Try to get everything working like an assembly line
Yes.
and get the kids ready, and we made it work.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
basically just do what you have to do. I mean, it's no formula. There's nothing written. Every day is different, of course. With any kid, every day is different. It's just everything with us was times 4.
Times 4, exactly.
So, you
So-
know, like he said, we were really lucky because my parents had already had a daycare center.
Oh, wow.
So we were
Wow,
able
that's,
to.
That's a blessing right there.
Like he said, he would help me get them ready in the morning. We get them in the van, and then I dropped them off, and then I went to work. So, you know, we had a really good support system.
That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about the quads, you know, each of their personality, their names, their...
Okay, well, we've got Robert, named after my husband, and then we've got Brian. He's the second. So we used to call him baby A, B, C, and D in the hospital. A is Robert, B is Brian, C is Courtney, and the baby of the group is Crystal.
Okay.
But Crystal's the baby, but she's definitely the boss.
Oh, okay.
Because she was always in charge when they were younger. She would make sure everybody was in order.
Okay.
So if I wasn't there, it was known that she was the boss.
Oh my God! Wow, that's wonderful. And so then, all right, did they all go to school at the same school? Now, if we can fast forward to K through 12, what was that like? Did they attend the same schools? Or?
Yeah, they all went to, locally they went to elementary school at Whitmore Elementary
Okay.
to start out. And yep, they were all in the same school, but they tried to separate them as much as possible with the classes.
Okay.
So we normally ended up with 2 in one class and 2 in the other class.
Oh, okay, which
So.
makes sense.
Yeah, so they always had a buddy to be with.
Okay.
You know?
And I remember their first day in preschool, they cried.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
They
Wow.
cried. They didn't want us to leave.
Yeah.
And so, what about the teachers? How were they very supportive in terms of?
Yeah, the school was extremely supportive, you know, with the 4 of them because they were so used to being in a group.
Mm-hmm.
Because by them going to my mom's daycare and then on to preschool, because we did put them in preschool for 1 year just to kind of, you know, get them in the habit of doing classroom type of stuff. But they were still all in one group when they was in the preschool.
Okay.
So now we go to elementary school and they're separated. We got 2 in one class, 2 in the other class. So the teachers was really, you know, they did a lot to help them kind of go through that adjustment of still being one family, but then being separated a little bit.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, we had our challenges though, because
Tell us a little bit
I
about.
think with the schools, as far as it was the homework, you know, we
Okay.
had
Yeah.
so much homework, and it was really a struggle to keep all 4 of them on the same level. You know, it was always my concern that we didn't want anyone to be left behind or fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to keep them all on the same level academically,
Mm-hmm.
because we knew if somebody fell behind, then that would be really separating the group. So,
Wow.
you know, and you have to think about stuff like that with with multiples. But at the same time, you also have to look at, well, they're individuals.
Yes.
So they have to maintain their individuality.
Yes.
So it was a lot to deal with school teachers and then friends, just neighborhood friends. You know, everyone had their ownership of the friends,
Oh, wow.
even though the friends were still in the same classes as everyone else. So
Yeah, that would sound like a challenge because they're all the same age.
They're all the same age, right.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
so it's the sharing of friends.
The sharing of, but what you just mentioned earlier is that the two sets, genders, that they're kind of buddies within themselves.
Right.
So that actually helps a lot.
They're buddies, but when they went through school, even though it was two in one class and two in the other, they always had boy-girl. It was never the two boys in
okay.
one class and the two
Oh,
girls in one class.
really?
It was always boy-girl, boy-girl.
So that was intentional.
Right.
Okay.
They did it that way. So just to kind of help them separate even more,
Okay.
so.
Okay. So then let's again fast forward to college. I mean, again, going through K through 12, and you had that support system. What was that like when they're in 11th grade, 12th grade, and they're getting ready to start moving on to that next phase of their life?
Yeah, I think college was just working on getting the money together.
Wow.
And trying to figure out how we were going to be able to put them all in college at the same time. It was a lot of prayer going on too, because
Sure.
we wasn't sure we were going to be able to get them all there. So once we really started looking at different colleges and then looking at the money that it was going to take, pooling our resources and seeing doing the financial aid, seeing what they were going to qualify for. Once we really got involved, the University of Maryland did an excellent job working with me.
Okay.
They really wanted to get all four of them.
Wow.
But I told you, there's always one that wants to do something different. So Robert wanted to go to Bowie, and even though my husband was saying, make them all go to the same school, I felt like if he wanted to do that, this is college. They don't have to always be a group.
Oh, wow.
So he chose to go to Bowie State. So that's where he went. And you know what? I'm really glad that, because Bowie had the major that he's a communications major. So Bowie had that major. And University of Maryland had it, but Bowie is known for their communications department.
I think it's very important to try to have each one find their own path. Don't try to over-influence them, because they might regret what they pick or choose.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'd say sort of lean back and let them find their own path. I think that's very important. And that I think would make kids successful in college is they happy in what they want to do.
Absolutely.
In school and life. So I think don't try to be overbearing. Just back off a little bit and let the kids find their own path.
That is really
Right.
excellent.
We try to guide them
Yeah.
some, but for the most part, they chose their own majors, and the school they wanted to go to, we let them choose that.
That's
So.
great. Robert gave the audience some really a good tip. Let the child kind of find their own path,
Right.
their passion. So as we're getting ready to wrap up this segment, because we're going to be able to meet two of your wonderful children,
All right.
Aretha, would you mind sharing a message with the audience about, again, some tips for parents who have multiple children going to school at the same time?
I think the biggest tip is when they're at school at the same time, just make sure you be supportive of whatever they want to do. It's easy for parents to be judgmental, but I think that you want to give your advice, but keep it to a minimum. Allow them that freedom to kind of see what it is that they want to do and to explore different career paths.
Wonderful.
Because especially in this day and age with the internet and everything being right at their fingertips for the most part, it's limitless what they can do. So just not setting any boundaries.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's definitely unique. It's fascinating, and we'll continue right after our segment break. So audience, stay tuned. We have more with the Matthews family.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Wacha. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Okay, welcome back to Career and College Matters. Again, audience, we've got a special guest with Aretha and Robert Matthews, and we're going to continue the discussion about how they put 4 children, quadruplets, through college at the same time. So, Aretha, you were mentioning pulling all the funds together, trying to, find a way to finance the college education of your children. So did you end up having scholarships, or what was that like?
Right. Well, we knew that, of course, it was going to be financially, almost a burden. So what we did was we did start early, meeting with a financial planner, but we also knew that the kids was going to have to get scholarships. So just making sure that through junior high, middle school, and high school, that they were on track academically to be able to qualify for some of the scholarship money out here, and then just finding it, finding money. So we work with the schools, the high school as well as the college, the financial aid department. So they was able to get some scholarship money as well as grant money, because it was 4 of them in college all at the same time. So they did qualify for financial aid from the state, so they were awarded some state funding as far as grant money is concerned, scholarships, and then student loans. We did have to rely on some student loans. So, but the good news is that a lot of it wasn't student. A lot of kids graduate college now, and they have a huge student loan debt. They really don't have a huge student loan debt, each one of them, in comparison. So once you put everything together, and then we tried to, since it was all 4 of them together, we tried to find other ways to minimize the expenses. For instance, the 3 that went together, the girls was able to get an apartment together, off-campus apartment, so that helped a whole lot. And them not having the meal plan at school, they was able to grocery shop and cook their own meals.
Wow, that's very.
So the meal plan can be expensive. I mean, it's about $3,000 or $4,000 each. So I knew that they wasn't eating $3,000 or $4,000 worth of food each. So we just got really smart about our planning. So since they had an apartment together, then my one son would come over and they would cook for him too, and they would eat together as a family on a daily basis, even when they was away at school. So, they would take turns cooking, and, they would grocery shop together, stuff like that. So we found other ways of saving money, even down to the books. They would rent their books instead of buying them.
Okay.
So there are ways that you can, you can find some alternative ways to save money, especially when you got multiples in school at the same time. You have to do whatever it takes to make sure everything comes together in the end.
That's wonderful.
So,
that's
again,
very resourceful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
so you do have to use your resources.
Yes. So then it seems like, okay, you came together, as a family, to deal with the financial part of it. Right. Now, what was it like when the kids had to select which school they were going to go to? And what school, did they end up attending? Right.
Well, we got 3 of them at University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So, and their school actually wanted all 4 of them. But Robert, the oldest one, he decided he wanted to go to Bowie State because he's a communications major.
Okay.
And Bowie had one of the best communication departments. And
ROTC.
Right. He was
Oh,
also a
he was
member of
also a member of the
ROTC. Right.
ROTC. That's
That was another way because they actually paid a portion of his school.
yes,
Right.
absolutely.
ROTC. So once again, you find ways that the kids can get into certain activities and be able to get scholarship money.
But what's fascinating about your story is that the kids were willing to get involved in the process. I know a lot of parents, including myself, you know, sometimes we have to kind of do it all for the kids, but, you know, it seems like, you know, the kids were, the quads, if you don't
Right.
mind, the quads were understanding that they have a unique situation.
Right.
And they wanted to assist in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So then you said they did receive multiple offers, you know, acceptances to different schools. They ended up with UMES,
Right,
which
University
is
of Maryland Eastern Shore, and we had to narrow it down to an in-state school because
Okay.
going out of state was just financially.
oh wow, yes,
And my mother-in-law wanted them to go to her school
Okay.
in North Carolina, and
oh wow,
some other people in the family wanted them to go to their school. So, in our quest to be loyal to the family, but we still had to look at the bottom line. We had to pick a good school that we felt like was going to give them an opportunity to go away, but still be close enough to home. So that if anything was to happen, you know, we were only, 2.5, almost 3 hours away. So that was better than being 7, 8, 9 hours away. So by them being able to still go away and live away from home, but not be too far,
hmm
so that we would be able to get to them if we needed to. So all that just kind of worked out. And then staying in state, I mean, staying in state, Maryland has some really good schools.
yes,
And I know a lot of kids are always, ooh, I want to go to this place, or I want to go to that place that's in a different school, in a different state. And I understand the need or the want to leave home and go as far as possible as you could go. But it was just financially, it just only made sense for them to stay in school.
And yes,
Yeah, and the kids compromised with us. That's a good thing. And you know, they realized they had to make it work. We have to make it work,
Right.
yes,
and it's better to stay in the state
absolutely.
and let them find their own path, what they want.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the smartest strategies that parents can do nowadays, you know, not just for the bottom line, but just for so many other reasons. It just makes more financial sense.
Right.
Usually, children, when they go off to college, that first year, not only are they homesick if they're out of state, you know, the chances of them doing really, really well, you know, just the statistics shows that most of them end up returning back home anyway. So I think the strategy that you used, you know, being realistic with the situation, finding resources that actually made sense, like you said, staying in state,
Right.
and then, you know, getting rid of the meal plan if it's
Right.
not necessary. If you go off campus, you know, if in your kids' case, Courtney and Crystal, they were able to live together.
Right.
You know, these are really wonderful tips. So then, all right, moving forward, then. Can tell us a little bit now, I guess the last 2 points I wanted to discuss is, you know, graduation parties, you know, and then what was that like, you know, planning for commencement parties for your children?
Well, it was really funny with the
quads.
boys because the boys ended up at Bowie State and University of Maryland Eastern Shore was graduating on the exact same day.
Oh my
at
gosh.
the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
So that was interesting, but we have yet to plan our party. I
Oh,
want it
wow.
right because we're going to have it probably in May or June because we
Okay.
wanted to have a nice cookout or something like that for the kids. But when the girls graduated, they graduated last May, I think we went straight to the beach.
Okay.
So they got them a nice little vacation as a graduation gift.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
so we had a nice time, but I just think just kind of getting it all over and done with now, you know, it's a huge relief. But now we just got to be gainfully employed.
And so, I guess as we're wrapping up, that's the next phase of
Right.
parenting at this point, right? Helping them to navigate through their career prospects and their professional careers. And what's that like for you as parents of quads?
But I think we kind of see announcements come open, and we might see something that we feel is a good fit for the quads, but once again, we have to let them explore their own path. And I think you do more sending them job announcements than I do, but he's really on it as far as trying to help them find jobs.
Yeah.
So we've been successful though. They're, so far they're doing pretty well with the job search. So that's coming along.
That's great.
I try to encourage them to be patient, and you'll find something.
Absolutely.
And don't get discouraged. And she keep job hunting, and it's gonna come.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
you just graduate. Not everybody get a job 1 week after graduation. It's a
Right.
process.
yes, it is a process.
You have to tell them it's a process.
Right.
You
Yeah,
are an
yeah.
absolutely amazing dad. I mean, it sounds like you are just a wonderful support system, and you of all people, Aretha, just such a wonderful honor. I can honestly say I've never met parents of quads. I've never met quads before, and it's not a daily occurrence. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with the audience. So as we get ready to wrap up, is there anything else that you wanted to say to the audience? Any final thoughts?
I just think for parents, just know that parenting doesn't end. You're always going to be their mother and father. You're always going to have their best interests at heart.
Yes.
So, and to the kids, when you have really good parents that really look out for you, just make sure you're understanding too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, for coming on the show again. Well, audience, I mean, there you have it. When do we hear stories like this? So we're so grateful that they were able to come in and share their story with us. Next week, we will have all four of the kids on to share their story. So again, thank you for watching. We look forward to having you tune in on the next show. Thank you.